Hello everyone, Alpha Aries here again with another video in the Aries Academy. This time we're going to be showcasing the brand new Pan Asian Cruiser, the Tier 8 Irian. This is a fantastically fun ship to play. It is a Kutuzov variant, the Tier 8 Russian cruiser, but this ship has a few interesting and unique perks and traits that we'll showcase here a little bit later on. But first I want to show you the modules, upgrades, and captain skills so you can see how to outfit your new cruiser, and I'm going to do that here at the beginning. That way you don't have to fast forward all the way to the end, and then showcase some gameplay after the fact. So with that being said, let's hop right on into port, show you how to outfit this beautiful, beautiful Tier 8 cruiser. Alright, and as we get into port here to look at the modules, you'll already notice a couple of the differences between this and Kutuzov. Here in that third slot you have Torpedo Reload Booster. Interesting, right? And I'll explain why we have that here in a second. But that'll go in your third slot. Notice no other options there, so if you can, make sure to take the premium version of that there. And the second slot, Hydroacoustic Search. And again, no other options here, so make sure you take the premium version of this as well. So keep in mind, these two slots are set in stone. You don't have any other extra options, so no real decisions to make there. And then obviously damage control. And here is the kicker. You have 13.5 kilometer deep water torpedoes on a cruiser. So now you see why you have Torpedo Reload Booster and why it's such a filthy tool on this ship here. So those are your two big differences right away. No smoke, instead reload booster and deep water torps. Alright, and as we get to the upgrades, pretty standard for a cruiser across the board here. There are a couple of choices to make, but for the most part it's pretty similar to your cruisers. Main armaments, mod 1 here in slot 1 is pretty much the go-to. Same for slot 2, damage control here. No issues with rudder or steering being knocked out in my playthroughs, so damage control is fine. Slot 3 is kind of your first choice. Right now with the aircraft carrier changes and the CV rework and the amount of carriers, the anti-aircraft mod is worth it. As that evens out, you know, aiming systems mod 1 may fit a little bit better, but right now anti-air is fine. Slot 4, rudder shift, again because you don't have smoke, so you're going to be on the move quite a bit, so that rudder shift is nice. And then in that fifth slot, concealment expert as well. So pretty standard affair there for the upgrades to the cruisers. Again, a little bit of a choice there in slot 3, but for the most part, pretty standard. With the captain skills here, you do have some variety, but I'll show you how I set mine up. For your first talent, user's choice between priority target and preventative maintenance. I like to know how many things want me dead, so I go priority target first. In that second line, I take expert marksman for the turret traverse. And in the third line, go ahead and take basic firing training, especially right now with the carriers. And then in that fourth slot, you'll want to grab IFHE first. Those guns really benefit from it. And then here's where you get some options. After those first skills, depending on how you want to build your ship, you can either take demolition expert and adrenaline rush with concealment expert, or you can go full anti-aircraft build and grab concealment with advanced firing training and then preventative maintenance for that final point there. So two really viable builds, and once these carriers shake out a little bit, you may settle into one that suits you. But the skill you most definitely absolutely need on this ship right now is IFHE. It really makes those guns do a lot of damage and makes you less reliant on your fires for damage. So make sure you have IFHE whichever way you decide to go, with anti-air or more of a pure gunboat. But yeah, those are pretty much the two best ways to outfit her. And as far as camouflage goes for this ship, it does come obviously with a premium camo, which is the one that you see here with its bonuses listed there. So pretty standard bonuses for premium ship camos. And it's kind of a nice color scheme. I actually like it quite a lot, actually, with the light blues, blacks, and whites. It looks pretty nice and clean. Good looking camo for a premium ship. The other camo is one you can pull out of the Pan Asian containers for Lunar New Year. And that's what it looks like there. It's definitely interesting and different. Definitely has an Asian feel with some of the pagoda hut, I guess you would call them, for the towers, and then obviously some of the cool features on the deck there. I personally prefer the regular premium camo that comes with the ship. So that's what I'll switch back to here. But if you do get this camo out of a crate, you do have a choice there. The bonuses are the same, so purely cosmetic differences there. Whatever you feel like looking like, make your choice. But again, the bonuses are the same, and that second camo right now is a drop from the Lunar New Year Pan Asian containers. So that's how you outfit this cruiser. Again, really fun to play. It's a Kutuzov variant, but instead of smoke, you get torpedo reload booster and hydro with deep water torpedoes with 13.5 kilometer range. So with that being said, I'll throw up a replay here for you to see, and we actually get most of our damage with the torpedoes here. And this video was actually done before I had IFHE on the ship, so do keep that in mind. We probably would have scored quite a bit more damage in this match if I had IFHE at the time, but unfortunately I did not yet. Also, you'll see the aircraft carriers ever present as part of the carrier rework, so that anti-aircraft mod obviously helps us out a little bit here in this match as well. But the first thing you notice on the flank here, I'm kind of alone with maybe one or two other ships, but with these torpedoes, you can actually flank deny pretty well with this ship. I can't tell you how many times battleships have just sailed right into the torpedoes, and the reason being, airplanes can no longer detect them. As of right now, and they're deep water torps, so their detection range is inherently low anyways. So unless they go right by an enemy destroyer, your torpedoes are pretty much going to be undetected from launch to target, which means battleships are going to be completely unaware, and by the time those torpedoes show up, there's nothing they can really do about it, and they hit really hard, and they have a really high chance of flood. So your torpedoes on this ship are very much an offensive weapon to be used as an offensive weapon. So you can actually, stealth torp should you need to, late game situations if you're low on health or the situation dictates it. You can drop those puppies in the water and no one will know they're on their way until it's too late. And that's really where you get a lot of damage on this ship. Not just from your guns and the fires, but from those torpedoes. So right now I'm doing my best here to help my Yamato with some anti-air, but he's getting focused by planes, by every ship on that flank right now. So it's not looking good for him. But what I want to do here is once these planes leave, and I'm can drop detection, I'm gonna try and send my torps out around that edge right there, because it looks like their battleships are kind of just trying to move around the corner here. There's nobody else on the flank for our team, so this is actually a perfect opportunity for me to use these torps. And speaking of the torps, look at the angles. The torpedo angles on this ship are fantastic. You barely have to turn either way, from forward or rear, to get your torpedoes off. There's a good shot of it there. It's really amazing how good the torpedo angles are. And again, with the torpedo reload booster, you can really flood an area pretty quick with a lot of these torpedoes. So don't be afraid to use them. They are very much, again, offensive torpedoes. So you'll see here in a few minutes just what I'm talking about. So I'm going to send all these torpedoes around that corner there, anticipating a lot of their fleet coming around. And these deep water torps are the Pan Asian ones, so don't confuse them with Asashio. These torps can hit cruisers, they can hit battleships, and they can hit carriers. The only thing they can't hit is destroyers. So don't be afraid to torp at cruisers. You can hit them, and again, in this situation, that's a friendly destroyer. My torps can't hurt him, so I have no problem shooting behind him. And look, that battleship sails straight into a torp. And just like that, we have, almost 50,000 damage just from those torpedo hits. And again, just flood the area with torps. And try and stack your floods, try and get damage done. So now that he's used his damage control for the flood we caused, we can start to use our guns. Again, don't have IFHE just yet, so our numbers might be a little bit lower as far as the pure alpha damage as opposed to fire damage here. But again, be on the move. This is where that rudder shift comes in handy, and why I like priority target, because I know just how many of those guys over there want to shoot me. So keep that in mind. Keep moving, changing your speeds, varying your angles, make yourself as hard as possible to hit. You do have really good range on your guns as well, similar to Kutuzov, so you can shoot from a pretty good distance away and dodge shells like that. You don't have a repair party, or not a repair party. You don't have a repair party, so keep that in mind as well. But notice, I just, I flooded that area with torps, and that other battleship there is going to take one. Wasn't even aiming at him, didn't even know he was there. But there's another torpedo hit, another flood, and more damage. And just look how fast we've accumulated damage here. And that's pretty much all from torpedoes. A few gun hits and a fire, but for the most part, that's all torpedo damage. And now we're trying to concentrate on some of these planes here with the anti-air. You'll notice the plane damage ticker going up pretty consistently. Trying to help out my team as best I can, dealing with these planes. So you'll see I'm also trying to fall back a little bit because there really is nobody else on this flank other than me and maybe one or two teammates, which this poor Yamato is not going to make it too much longer as we come together for a meeting there. But he's not going to live too much longer, so I don't think that DD lasts much longer either, so it's just going to be me on this flank with my torpedoes. And so you'll see again what I mean with just saturate the area with as many torpedoes as you can, especially when you're having to retreat like this, and with those good torpedo angles you can torp behind you with very little maneuvering. So just make sure that you're getting those torpedoes off as often as you can using the reload booster, and then when they get hit with a flood and have to put it out, feel free to let them on, set them on fire with your guns. That's where this ship can really stack damage. Between the floods and the fires, you can really catch some people in between their damage control, which allows you to put up some pretty filthy numbers. But as you again see here, it's pretty much me on my own over here on this flank. So we're gonna just try and anticipate the enemy's movements with these torpedoes. Trying to guess which way these battleships are going to turn. They're more than likely going to try to turn in, to push around. Looking at the map, they're not going to, I wouldn't expect them to sail to the border. So again, learn to anticipate enemy ship movements and positions. And just as I'm undetected right now, so I'm able just to throw torps, saturate the area. I keep harping back on that, but it's such a good strategy in this ship. Especially in a situation like this where there's all these ships closing in behind me, and I can just throw wave after wave of torpedoes back there that are essentially invisible, since they can't be spotted by airplanes. Get lucky there, not taking any massive citadels, which probably would have killed us, so we got fortunate there, and that actually is going to allow us to rack up another good chunk of damage. That British cruiser that stopped in smoke over there gets really lucky. I was actually really surprised that one of those torps didn't catch him, considering he stopped literally right where I launched him. But he gets lucky and avoids the torps. But again, we're gonna use this island here that's to my left for some cover, to turn and get another volley of torpedoes off, using the reload booster, and just see if we can't get one or two of these battleships off our flank. But this is the strength of the ship, using these torpedoes, staying undetected, using the stealth fire torpedo window, which you do have a pretty decent sized one, especially if you take concealment expert on the ship. So just flood the area, anticipate movements, and again, because the torps are basically invisible, the amount of ships that sail just straight into them is quite high. And it kind of caught me off guard when I first got the ship. I was like, there's no way people are going to run into these. But then you think about it, they can't see them until it's too late. And you've got a quintuple launcher. So, you've got a line of 5 with really good dispersion on the torps. So, the torps are an offensive weapon. It's so strange to have that on a cruiser. But that's what they are. They are very much an offensive weapon. To be used in combination with your guns and fire chance to bait people into using damage control, and then hitting them with a fire or a flood to basically cause permafires, permafloods, and just to really lay the hurt. And you'll see what I'm doing again, just throwing out torps, picking my chances to use the guns to try and get some fires, keep wiggling, using that rudder shift back and forth, varying speeds, making yourself a difficult target. And I'm pretty much at max range as well. So I'm just making myself a very hard target to shoot back at, while at the same time putting as much ordnance in the water or downrange as I can. But this is pretty much how you want to do it. Keep your distance, because you are pretty squishy. If you get in that 8 to 12 kilometer range of a battleship, 9 times out of 10 they're going to punish you. You don't have any kind of heal. You don't have any kind of smoke. Really no defensive abilities other than those torpedoes. So staying at range and throwing torps is your best bet. You'll see again, I just threw these in a general area, and even though he's turning, he's still going to take a torp. And in combination with the fires that I've got on him, he's going to take an astronomical amount of damage. I believe our carrier hit him with a torpedo and got a flood, so he used his damage control. So this battleship is pretty much helpless. He's got a flood from me, and he's got fires from me, and you can just watch his health just steadily go down. But that's the strategy with Irian. Use your torps, use your fires, and just watch the world burn, pretty much. And even though we don't actually get the kill on this guy, I mean, we did a pretty substantial amount of damage to him. I think we end up, right around the 160k mark here. So yeah, I mean, if you look at this match, it's kind of strange. We did almost, 160,000 damage. We didn't get any kills, no, actual kills, but we pretty much held the flank. We slowed their advance. We dished out a really high amount of damage, and our team was able to, finish off the targets and get the win for us. The match is going to end here pretty shortly after these two battleships go down. But, I pretty much put torpedoes into everything I could. Fires, stagger, damage again. Just use those torpedoes as an offensive weapon. I can't say that enough. And then even, once you get IFHE on the guns, it becomes even more of a monster with IFHE and those torps and your concealment. She is a really, really powerful ship, especially, experienced cruiser players will feel her power. And even newer players can feel at home in her. She is a little bit less forgiving, again, because no heal, no smoke. But if you follow the tips and strategies that I laid out in this video, you should get the handle of her pretty quick. I definitely recommend this ship. If you can get a hold of it through the bundles and the arsenal, go for it. If you get lucky enough to pull it out of a crate, congrats. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, have a good one.